Yellowstone Supervolcano, another shock because of the heat revealed. X-ray images show that its source is under western United States. We didn't expect this. There are those geologists who claim that it has nothing to do with the west coast of the United States. Well, this has changed. As we saw from the July earthquakes in Ridgecrest, Ridgecrest gave earthquake swarms to Yellowstone after that, and also to the Long Valley caldera. This is where the mantle plume is coming from, right through, smack through Ridgecrest, Baja California, reaching all the way up, as you can see, to Yellowstone. And this is not fantasy. This is fact. Because of the fact that they say that there's a cap, a type of a plate from the west pushing off that magma plume towards Yellowstone. But this is also now, of course, ascertained through the X-ray images. Yellowstone, as we know, is one of the best examined and monitored volcanoes on Earth. It has its own volcano observatory, Yellowstone Volcano Observatory. Now, these volcano scans trace the supervolcano's eruptions, the past eruptions, to an ancient ocean plate that's lying underneath the western United States. And it's not the heat drawn from the Earth's core, they say. This is by Sebastian Kentley Express UK, USGS, and Yellowstone geologists informing. So they studied the Yellowstone supervolcano. They uncovered this shocking new source of volcanism, the mantle plume, underneath the park. The geologists are from Virginia Polytechnic Institute and the State University of Virginia Tech. They believe that Yellowstone is powered by a gigantic ocean plate beneath the western United States. Up to now, scientists thought Yellowstone's source is powered directly from the Earth's core, something like the Kilauea volcano eruption in Hawaii. But this new study, published in the journal Nature Geoscience by Ying Zhu, who is an associate professor at Virginia Technology, shows a different story concerning the volcanism at Yellowstone. Professor Zhu states, in this research, there was no evidence of heat coming directly up from the Earth's core to power the surface volcano at Yellowstone. Instead, the underground images we captured suggest that Yellowstone volcanoes were produced by a gigantic ancient oceanic plate that drove under the western United States. This happened about 30 million years ago. This ancient oceanic plate, he says, broke into pieces and resulted in perturbations of the unusual rocks in the mantle, and that led to volcanic eruptions in the past 16 million years. The expert said that the Yellowstone eruptions are understood to have been extremely violent and, of course, explosive. And here you can see the progression, 16.5 million, 15.9 million, 12.7 million, going from west to east, from California towards Wyoming. That's along the Snake River Plain. Now, he created the ancient plate broke into pieces, as Dr. Zhu said, resulting in perturbations of this unusual rock in the mantle, and that led to volcanic eruptions the past 16 million years. Now, the geologist said that the Yellowstone eruptions are understood to have been very violent and explosive. Okay? Professor Zhu and her associates created the X-ray-like images of the interior of the Earth, and they used the US array network of potable seismographs spread across the continental United States. And Professor Zhu said the evidence was in direct contradiction to the plume model. About 16 million years ago, a gigantic ocean plate in the Pacific, dubbed the Farallon Plate, Farallon, Farallon, that wedged itself under the modern-day western United States. Now, this Farallon Plate crumbled into various pieces, and the result was that the section of the subductor plate tore off and it sank into the deep earth. That's amazing stuff. Now, the sinking section of that plate caused the hot material to slowly creep up to form what is known today as the Yellowstone supervolcano chain. Professor Zhu said the process started at the Oregon-Idaho border about 16 million years ago and propagated northwestward, forming a line of volcanoes that are progressively younger as they stretch northwest to what is today Wyoming, the northwest part of the state of Wyoming. Wyoming, Montana, Idaho. Now, in the past, they had accepted the plume model of Yellowstone volcanism, and that was used to explain the supervolcano's hotspots stretching from Oregon through Idaho, Wyoming, and the Midwest. However, Professor Zhu said that the moving North American plate would have displaced the older volcanoes over the fixed position plume towards the Oregon-Idaho border. So there's a plate under there, stuck under there. Amazing. She said it has always been a problem there, and scientists have tried to come up with different ways to explain the cause of Yellowstone volcanoes, but it has been unsuccessful. Now, we know that the latest, here we have, look at that. Okay, that's the Yellowstone caldera, as you can see. The latest known super eruption is about 630,000 years ago. That was a double eruption of 170 years apart. And there are no models to predict when Yellowstone could blow again. Professor Zhu said, "This is the first time the new imaging theory has been applied to this type of seismic data, which allowed us to see anomalous structures in the Earth's mantle that would otherwise not be resolvable using traditional methods." So she was able to see it. They were able to see it. That's why they're coming up with this conclusion. When they have images and they can see it lying under there, that's what gives the explanation. Now, the next step, she said, will be to increase the resolution of the X-ray-like images of the underground rock. She says more detailed images of this unusual rock, these rock pieces in the deep earth, will allow us to use computer simulation to recreate the fragmentation of this gigantic oceanic plate and test different scenarios of how rock melting and the magma feeding system worked for the Yellowstone volcano. Yeah, they should learn that, because then perhaps they can find out how that works. And this would be terrible if we had another super eruption. We had the eruptions there near the caldera were 2.1 million years ago, 1.3 million years ago, and the 40,000 years ago. Those were all super eruptions. But then they had other eruptions. The one at 70,000 years ago was a large magma eruption, lava eruption, and they had another 80 since then. Just about every 6,000 years it erupts, but they were not super eruptions, of course. And they had another hydrothermal eruption about 5,300 years ago that caused a lake called Mary Lake. That was a huge hydrothermal eruption, geyser gone bad type of thing. And here we have the map showing us the sizes of the Yellowstone eruptions. You can see how huge they were compared to Mount St. Helens, for example, and how much magma erupted. If you'd like to join me on my Patreon account, you will hear content not covered by mainstream media. These riveting stories will be based on my research, and I will state my opinions and give my personal insight on diverse and controversial subjects and world events not covered by mainstream media, and not supported by YouTube guidelines. So whatever I have on my Patreon, most of those will not be on my YouTube channel. Please consider becoming a member today. More of the most significant and important videos will be on my Patreon channel. Your support helps me to continue my research and keeps this YouTube channel alive. And we depend on your support, your generous charity, because we help economically challenged families here in Athens, Greece, in Kapota, and we also help the young generation with university tuition and the community around our church. Thank you.